I think he said some horrible things about her. We're gonna find out. She's gonna have a story about him. Oh my god. That's really gonna be a lot to take in. It's making me emotional because I feel like he really is not a good person. Oh gosh, I don't want to say that about him, but from what he did to her, he really exploited her in a very horrific way. Exploited her substance issues, exploited her character. So, and she blindly trusted him. Welcome back to No Light Tarot. My name is Holly. So grateful to have you all. So let's get into the reading. I'm doing a reading on Scooter Braun. This came out of the blue last night when I came home. Well, from the gym. I was like, I didn't come from work. But I came home from the gym and I saw headlines about Scooter Braun. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to look at the videos because I don't like them to taint how I feel and what comes up. But I did see some headlines about Demi Lovato. I didn't really get into it, but I just saw Demi Lovato, Justin Bieber, and so forth and so forth. Through my readings on Justin Bieber, I have seen that Scooter Braun, in my intuition, because it is intuitive based, has not been the most clear person. I think he's very shady. He indulges in lots of shady practices. And I think that he has had a huge influence on Justin Bieber's life, his career, and the dark path that he's headed down. So I'm going to break down Scooter Braun, his career, what happened with Taylor, what happened with Demi Lovato, and so forth and so forth. So please stay till the end. I will put up timestamps about different artists that he's worked with that we know of, and why the relationship has severed, the business relationship has severed, and what is behind the scenes. So please comment, like, and subscribe. I'm so grateful to have you all. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe for more. I release videos every week and I am growing this channel. I'm building it, so it'd be great to have you. Okay, so in my tradition of doing first readings on people, I'm going to start with the Astrochart. So his Astrochart, excuse me. So his sun is in Gemini and his moon is a Capricorn. Very interesting. I couldn't find his rising, but what I did see in his chart that he has a lot of air. So he has a lot of Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. Actually, predominantly Gemini and Libra from what I could see. So that gives me an indication of his personality. A lot of the time, I am predominantly air and earth. So I would say I'm like 50% earth or 40% air. And a lot of the time with predominantly air personalities, we're good with people. We have a great way of connecting to people. Now, with his earth is the next part of his chart. So he's very good at like logistics, making sure contracts are what they need to be and that kind of thing, you know. So I would actually think he'd make a good lawyer too, if he weren't a manager, but just saying that. Okay, so just from his chart. So I pulled the cards and I'm going to read past, present, and future. Then I'm going to break down different artists that he's worked with. I'm going to start with Demi Lovato once I've done. Taylor Swift once I've done. And then I'll work my way up. So with this past being Page of Coins. So I have a very strong feeling that he was like a nerd in school. And the kind of nerd that was like, he tried to get along with everybody, but people were like, oh, he's like the clown, like the class clown, you know, but he was like a nerd class clown. And in the beginning, people didn't really like him. And I think as time grew, he developed, in high school, he developed this ability to make people laugh and charm his way through situations. I get the feeling that when he was in high school, when he was younger, he was very like, even in his early college years, I don't think he finished college. I get that very strongly too. I think he went in. A lot of Sun and Geminis, famous Sun and Geminis, go to college and they don't finish it. The same thing happened to me, so I'm not against it. I think a lot of Geminis are too, and I'm not saying if you went to college that you're backward thinking. Sometimes you need it, you know. In fact, right now I'm actually studying at a college for something, so you really need it. But not everything, especially when you deal with people, do you need to go to college for. So he's that kind of person. He's very forward thinking. And Geminis, you know, I say this all the time about Geminis. Sun and Geminis are very future. In fact, air signs, mostly Gemini and Aquarius, are very future thinking, very futuristic, you know. I say, you know, Kanye West is a perfect example of that. With the Yeezy shoes, people, I say this all the time, people made fun of the Yeezy shoes. Now, most trainers, most sneakers look like Yeezys today. But when they came out, everybody was like, this is gross, these are ugly. But Geminis are very good at setting trends. They can see a trend and they know that, hey, that's going to be the future. Same thing with Aquarius. A lot of Aquarius, Paris Hilton, Oprah, you know, the list goes on and on, are famous Geminis and Aquarius who are very good at seeing, hey, the future is going to look like this. There's just an intuition that happens with that. So he was very good. He developed his skill of like talking to people, making connections, and he was like, you know what, I don't need to stay in college for this. I already have the connections. I'm going to go for what I want. And he's very good at going for what he wants. I always say this too. If you're a Gemini and you have a vision, a lot of Geminis will start something, they don't finish it. But if you really believe in something and you're a Gemini and you work hard for it, it will be. Geminis, if they can keep their focus straight, because a lot of Geminis have ADHD and like attention issues, that if you can focus on something and work towards it no matter what, which I think he has developed because of the earth in his chart. So with the present being 5 wands, interesting. 5 wands is often about competition, and it seems like he didn't really have that much competition when he was becoming a manager. I see like a mentor in his early days that brought him along. I think it might have been Clive Davis. I think Clive Davis is also a Gemini. He's either Gemini or Capricorn. But there was an elderly figure in his life that isn't family related, but became like family through the business, that showed him the ropes, took him in, was like an elderly figure, and really made him feel like he could achieve what he wanted to, you know, and be that figure for him. And that figure I don't think is in the picture anymore, because I think he has developed, Scooter, in my opinion, has developed a dark side to him. You know, I think, and I see it this very clearly. I think when he started, he was very innocent. I think we're going to see people come out and say Scooter's not the same person he was, so forth and so forth. And they're just going to say he used to be very innocent and very charming, and he used to care for people. Now it's all about money. So let's see. Okay, yeah. So this kind of reminds me of, I think he might have had a divorce, something like that, or had marital issues. But this kind of reminds me of Andy Cohen, who's also a Sun and Gemini. He's the executive producer of Bravo. Well, not anymore, I don't believe. I think he's just a talent producer, something like that. No, excuse me, he is the executive producer. He used to be the talent too, but he is no longer talent developer. But I see this very strongly. Sometimes what happens with Geminis, and this has happened with Kanye West too, Sun and Geminis, when they become famous, they become very paranoid of people around them. And because I think a lot of them can see the other side to people, they become very guarded around a lot of people. I can be like that too. I think a lot of signs can be like that. But the only problem with that is now that he's so guarded, he's not making decisions from a genuine place. It's from a place of, I need to make sure this person doesn't screw me over. So the future being King of Swords, I see very strongly here that he is going to take on a logical stance and leave out his emotions. So he's going to cut ties with any personal... I just got this download now that he, in the past 2 years, has become very ruthless. Very ruthless. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a substance involved in this situation, which is very unfortunate. So the past 2 years he's become very ruthless and has become very, it is the way it is. And if people, like, it's my way or high, which is very Capricorn, Moon in Capricorn is very much like that, you know. Once they feel, and the mixture with Gemini is just like a lot. If he doesn't go to therapy, I would highly recommend that he goes to therapy, because it's a lot even for him to take on those emotions. Especially I feel like he can be very two-faced, very say one thing to one person, the next say a completely different thing to another. And I think people are catching up to that very strongly. I think over the last 15 years, again 15 years, he's done that. But mostly the past 2 years, and now people are really catching up to, hey, this person is not a good person. And I don't like to be like good or bad, you know, because everybody has nuance. There have been some people that have hurt me that I just want to label as like a bad person. And obviously sometimes people can do really horrendous things, but it's not up to me to decide if somebody's a good person or a bad person, you know. I'll leave that up to God or the divine, the higher creator. So with Ace of Swords, I really strongly feel like with the general energy, he's getting ready to cut ties with a lot of people. And he's going to victimize himself and say, they did this to me. So he's going to put himself in the position that even though it looks like they're cutting ties with him, he's manipulating the situation so that they end up having to cut ties with him. If that makes any sense. Comment below if that makes sense. Okay, so now that I've read that, I'm going to start with Taylor Swift. So I don't really remember this story. Honestly, I was going through a very hard time in 2016, 2017. And I was moving out of New York to LA. So I don't really recall a lot of like gossip and stuff. I only watched Wendy Williams because she's so funny. She used to make me laugh. But other gossip stuff I don't really pay attention to. I remember watching a very famous divorce that was going down, and I should have had more compassion for it. But it came on my screen. I was like, oh, these Hollywood rich people, please, you know. So I just wasn't really into that, and I would actually change my TV if anything came on. If it went Wendy Williams, you know. So let's see. I remember with Taylor Swift, she said, I remember she was accepting an award, and she said something about, you know, the people, I'm paraphrasing, but she basically said that the reason why a lot of these Hollywood typical males get away with their behavior is because people say, oh, he hasn't been like that to me. And I can vouch for that. It's definitely been my experience. In fact, recently, an ex that I have, I'm not going to say who, but a lot of accusers are coming out against him, saying that he did not what he did to me, but very similar personality, in that he was manipulative, gaslit me, all that kind of stuff. So I really believe that. It's just ironic all coming out right now, when at the time that it happened, a lot of people didn't believe me. So I just let it be. And I totally believe Taylor's song where she says karma is a god. Because it really is the effort you put out, you know, and always comes back. In fact, I love that song by Taylor Swift, where she says, I keep my side of the street clean and you'll never know what it means, you know. So I don't really remember fully what happened, and I don't want to take sides. I want to look at this from a very nuanced perspective, you know. But I get the energy from what I'm picking up from the cards, of like betrayal. Okay, and Taylor is a Sagittarius, the opposite sign of Sagittarius. It's Gemini, and I feel like the two either, I don't necessarily would say get along, but I feel like with Sagittarius and Gemini, they can be each other's kryptonite, you know. I feel like that about Leos and Libras in my life. Is that Leos, I can either really get along with them, otherwise, but dating situations I've had too, and I'm like, my ex-boyfriend in high school, because my opposite sign, ex-boyfriend in high school was a Leo, and he was definitely my kryptonite. But anyways, so with Ace of Cups, King of Cups, and 5 of Coins, so he presented himself to Taylor as somebody mature, somebody that wanted to, I think he might have developed like a crush on her, but wasn't really telling her that. And he wanted to act to her like she was 5 of Coins, his only project, and kind of like a muse, you know. I see him talking really fast. I've never heard him speak, but I see him talking really fast and like blah, 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 you know, like on the phone, like being like kind of hysterical. And I think one day she saw a side of him. She was like, I don't want to deal with this person anymore. I think he's very good at luring people in. And then once they see that side of him, they're like, wait a second, this is the person that I was just dealing with, you know. So very, very two-faced. People can say that a lot about Geminis, you know. And I've experienced it myself. In fact, I had this one Gemini woman that I was doing a podcast. I did an episode with her, and she left a famous cycling studio, and I had promised her that I wouldn't edit it because I know what it's like to feel like you are being objectified or your words taken out of context. So I wanted to stay true to that. The name of the podcast was The Unwellness Community, but that series was Surviving. So I was going to call each one Surviving, but I haven't told her that yet. Maybe I should have told her that, but you know, I didn't feel like it was a big deal. She made it to a big deal and so forth and so forth, and she basically, like, I saw her flip, and that's what I mean about the Gemini flip. They can one day be really cool with you, then if they hear something about you, they won't, their shadow side is they won't give you the benefit of the doubt. They tend to believe the worst about people. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that. So I feel like he flipped on her and he believed the worst about her. And I think that he believed, let's see, there were articles coming out about her, oh my, saying that she, well, 10 of Swords, 10 of Cups, and 5 of Swords, saying that she wanted to find new management. And he felt betrayed, and he was like, that's it. He cut her off. And I think he made it very hard for her to find new management after that, because he would gossip about her to other people. Geminis can be the biggest gossips. Biggest, Sun and Geminis, I'm telling you. It can be, I have like a real love-hate relationship with Geminis, because sometimes I see the wonderful side, you know, they're fun, they're entertaining, but then when you see the other side, you're like, I cannot believe this person is like this, and it makes you like, you're like, what just happened? So that's the thing. And I think with his Capricorn moon, he holds onto grudges a lot, and he, I believe, bought her masters to always have control over her. And I think it's the kind of thing like I was talking about with an ex of mine, that now things have come out. I had a public ex, that now things are publicly coming out about them, but people didn't believe her at the time. But as time comes out, more people will believe her, and more people will be like, you know what, you were right. And sometimes you just have to let it be like that. So that's what I have for you. Please comment if you feel like saying anything about the Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun. So as I move on to Demi Lovato, I love Demi Lovato's music. I absolutely love her voice. I think she's so underrated. And you know, I was actually thinking the other day, by the way, I was accurate about Normani, and I did say she would find new management. She has new management now. I was saying the other day, I might have covered this already in a Demi Lovato video, but I was saying that I feel like Demi Lovato has this, she is very underrated, and I think she's got some kind of suppression going on with her. I think I did say that before. I'm pretty sure I did. I do so many readings, I forget what it's exactly I say. People have to remind me. Oh yeah, you said this. Oh yeah, you said that. So let's see what was going on between her and Scooter Braun, the energy between them. Okay, so Demi Lovato, her son is in Leo. I think a lot of the time, Sun and Gemini, Sun and Leos do not get along. I've seen that a lot in my personal life where they just don't, and when I do readings, they just don't get, it's very rare that I see a Gemini and a Sun and Gemini and a Sun and Leo getting along. So, oh, wow. This is some really serious stuff. So the Two of Swords, Death, and the Hierophant. She found out, Demi Lovato, I believe, because she's back to she, right? Not they anymore, she's she. She found out, Death card, that he was planning. You see what I'm saying? He has a trend of, I think legally it works out better for him if he stops something from happening before they speak out. Before they get a chance to speak out about how he is. I think the Taylor situation, after that he learned that I'm just gonna flip on them so that they end up having to leave me. And with the Hierophant, I think he has been blocking her career for quite some time. She found out things about him that she's not ready to reveal right now, but she's very sad. Let's send her love. I feel, poor thing, she's very sad about how things have turned out, and she's not being honest right now because I don't think she has the strength. You know, when Leos are sad, Leo's one of my favorite signs, honestly. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's my opposite sign, and the reason why Leo is one of my favorite signs because they're so raw. Even if I don't get along with a Leo, a lot of the time they're not, in my opinion, they're not capable of being vindictive, and you can see on the surface who they are, you know. And whether it takes you like a day or a month, you will see the true character. They won't hide it for years, just be my experience. So I see that she's hurting a lot from how things ended up with Scooter, but she won't say, hey, this is hurting me. She'll cover it up until the time is right for her to express herself. And I think she'll do it through music. I think she might have Aquarius in her chart. She's got a lot of fixed energy, I can feel that. So it's often hard for her to release relationships and friendships. Because of that, she takes her time. So 4 of Cups on, 8 of Swords and 10 of Swords. She's very hurt. Very, very hurt by Scooter. I think he said some horrible things about her. We're gonna find out. She's gonna have a story about him. Oh my God. That's really gonna be a lot to take in. It's making me emotional because I feel like he really is not a good person. Oh gosh, I don't want to say that about him, but from what he did to her, he really exploited her in a very horrific way. Exploited her substance issues, exploited her character. So, and she blindly trusted him. So, and she has a trend of that. I did do a video about that. She has a trend of trusting older men who, and he's not that much older than her, because what, she's 32, I can't believe he's what, 42. Okay, so he's 10 years older. Yeah, he's 42. He's 10 years older than she is. But even so, you know, trusting older people that just upset her. And I really wish her well. You know, some of the things she does I don't agree with, but I feel like her heart is very pure. Okay, so let's move on to Ariana Grande. So they've also said that Ariana Grande wants to move on from him. It's very interesting that he's saying that. So let's see. Okay, so I get like a lot of he's telling a lot of these people that he's rebranding. He's like, I really want, because this is what he has done with that generation. He had them when they were young, you know. They were teenagers, basically, older teenagers. And, you know, teenagers are very, very malleable, very impressionable. And now that they're older, I think that they're not really saying yes to as much. They're solidifying their contracts. They're asking more questions. And it's easier to manage a teenager that doesn't know real boundaries than to manage an adult that's been through therapy, that knows more about themselves, and who has learned enough about the business to manage themselves, you know? And that's what I would actually recommend for people like Justin Bieber. Maybe not Justin Bieber, because he's not the most mentally aware or evolved, you know. I don't want to be mean about him, but I feel like mentally he might not be all there, and he's the type that would need a manager. I just don't think Scooter's the right person to be a manager for him. But people like Lovato, I don't think would need a manager. People like Ariana Grande, I don't think would need a manager. I think that at some point, just like with Beyonce, you can really manage yourself if you've been in the entertainment industry for enough time. So with Nine of Swords, Queen of Coins, and the Magician, I really strongly feel like with Ariana, as she branches out more into acting and other things, he feels like she's a shell of who she used to be. I think he says things to her like, you remember when you used to do this? He's a very, in my opinion, can say some very hurtful things to people to kind of keep them in line, you know? And I think he did that with his wife. I want to cover his wife maybe next time. But I think he says things to his wife to be like, you know, or just people in general, particularly women. I think he has things with women where he'll say, oh, I remember, like in a joking way, in a passive aggressive joking way, I remember when you used to say yes to things, you know, I remember when you used to do this for me. I remember, and yet the person ends up like hangs up the call and they're like, oh, that wasn't a very nice thing to say, you know. So I think he does that, and he sees that she is evolving, Queen of Coins, and she's coming into her own. I mean, people are saying horrible things about Ariana Grande. I feel like there's always a story behind every situation, and I don't like to label people. And that's what my channel is about. It's about giving nuance and seeing how we can learn and grow, you know? So I'm not going to join the bandwagon of hate towards her. I'm just going to merely wish her well and hope she works on any insecurities she might have. So with the Magician, I really feel like he feels like he can't manipulate her anymore. And I really feel like his personality, I mean, there's certain job types that personalities are just narcissistic, very narcissistic. And definitely being in entertainment is one of them. And he, to me, gives very narcissistic energy. And that narcissistic energy needs control over a lot of people to feel valuable and to feel powerful. And once they feel that control slipping, they discard you. And that's what's going to end up happening with Ariana Grande. So in the next 2 months, we're going to hear of her going her own way. Yeah. Okay, so last but not least is Justin Bieber. And I've already done a video about this. I think that Scooter was, I did a live actually like a month ago, 2 months ago. I said that Scooter has in fact been responsible for, in my opinion, being responsible for a lot of what's happened with Justin Bieber, him marrying Hailey. I think he's been very manipulative. He's been able to have a hold over Justin because Justin has blind loyalty to Scooter. But now he's starting to question. He found out information that Scooter would go behind Justin's back and talk to Hailey, set them up, you know, and stuff like that. So let's see. Okay, so Ace of Wands 5, so interesting. So I did say this, that I see Justin trying to take action and moving on from this management. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to ruin his plan. I think his plan is needed. I think he needs to get out of that management and out of that marriage as soon as possible. He is a Pisces, and Pisces can be very stubborn. So he might not take advice, but once he feels it in his soul, he's going to let it go. 10 of Wands. It's going to be very difficult, but he's definitely going to move on. And all the Justin Bieber fans, man, I think there should be a free Justin. I'm telling you, free, because it's not looking good. He will get out, but it's gonna get way worse before it gets better. We're gonna see Justin lose a lot of weight. I think he's gonna stop eating, stuff like that. Just get into very depressive mode, and then he's gonna decide to move on. Love. Really? Cards don't lie. Oh my gosh. The Love is the Hangman, the Emperor. He's gonna leave the relationship. I said by the end of the year. And you see how this lion and the Emperor's angry? I think that's a trend Justin Bieber has. That he can't leave things, and maybe it's because of his childhood trauma, but he can't leave things on a good note. He has to leave from defiance. And I used to do that too, actually. I think Children of Divorce, we have that. Where we have to be like angry to leave a situation, you know? And he's going to get to the point where he's so angry, he's going to end up leaving. And that anger will fuel his move, like fuel his spirit to leave the situation. But I definitely see Scooter involved in like the ability to manipulate talent beyond just work. He can manipulate friendships. He's like a master manipulator, and it's all going to come out. We're going to hear allegations, we're going to hear stories, we're going to hear a lot about him. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's possible jail time for him. So that's what I have for you all. Please comment. I would love to hear what you say. Take care.